There, welcome back to Mysteries channel. Thanks for clicking on my video. I know it's been a little bit since I released a video, but we had strep going through the house, and with strep in the world news, I felt the need to completely clean and sanitize my house just for my own sanity. But I'm done and I'm back now. My last video, I talked about the Norse mythology, and at the end of it, I talked about how in the Greek mythology and some of the South American mythologies, the giants were indigenous to Earth, maybe more than we are. Someone in the comment section said it was going to be murky, and damn, you were right. It is murky. It's really hard for a lot of reasons. Greek mythology branches out, names and places are changed, and it's hard to track down the original source. I'm sure I'm really going to have to start looking at Egypt and Mesopotamian myth more. And in South American myth, it's very hard as well because the missionaries that came to South America and the Spaniards, the whole quest was funded by the Catholic Church, and payment for that was converts to the religion, and also it made it much easier for them to convert if myths and legends from native people synced up to the ones that they were going to be taught. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of stuff, when being recorded, was enhanced, we'll say. It is a strategy that worked well for the Catholic Church for, well over 1,000 years at this point. So it continued, especially in the recordings of South American lore. So I'll just go with that. So let's just start. I'm going to start with the Greek mythology. The Greek mythology, it's hard because it's so damn bizarre that you're just like, what? So I'm going to give you the most rudimentary version of the battle between the gods and the giants, basically. The battle between the gods and the giants in Greek mythology might be the most important battle in all of it. It is between the giants, the sons of Earth and Uranus the sky, and the Olympian gods who were trying to overthrow the old religion and establish themselves as the new rulers of the cosmos. The giants were of the earth, and not only were they of the earth, but they were created by the earth to defeat the gods. According to some sources, this battle started when the giant Alcinous stole cattle of the god Helios. A prophecy had it the giants would be defeated if a mortal were to help the gods. To protect her children, Gaia, the earth, tried to find a plant that would shield the giants from any harm. However, Zeus stopped Eos the dawn, Selene the moon, and Helios from shining, and took every single plant for himself. When the battle began, Heracles fought Alcinous. However, the giant would not die as long as he stepped on the soil of his homeland. With Athena's advice, Heracles dragged Alcinous away from his homeland and then killed him. The other giants met similar fates. Dionysus killed Eurydice, Athena buried Enceladus under Sicily, and Hermes killed Hippolytus, and so on. Many of the giants were buried under islands or mountains, and in fact, it was believed in olden days that earthquakes and volcanic eruptions were caused by the giants moving in their tombs. So let's go on to the Americas. There was an author, his name, I'm never going to say it right, I have no idea, but I think it is Ixtlichitl, and he was a source that was sought after because he was half-blooded, he was Native American and of Spanish descent, and because of that, he was able to get direct native sources without corrupting them himself. And so later on in history, people really sought the things that he wrote. What he wrote states that the Toltecs credited a certain Tlaloc Nwake, Lord of all existence, with the creation of the universe, the stars, the mountains, and the animals. At the same time, he made the first man and woman from whom all inhabitants of the earth descended. This first earth was destroyed by a water sun. At the commencement of the next epoch, the Toltecs appeared and after many wanderings settled in the Huehue Tlapalan, or very old Tlapalan, as if they found ruins and resettled them. Something I wonder if it's happened many times throughout history. Then following the second catastrophe, that of the wind sun, the remainder of the legend recounts how mighty earthquakes shook the world and destroyed the earth giants. These earth giants, the Quinamis, were similar in respect to the Greek Titans and were also said to be a great source of uneasiness to the Toltecs. In the opinion of the old historians, they were descended from the races who inhabited the more northerly portion of Mexico. The Olmecs. The Olmecs were on the scene before the Toltecs and the Aztecs. And according to their myth, 7 tribes came from the north to the Mexican highlands. Already lived 2 peoples, the Chichimecs and the Giants, 2 separate societies. The Giants inhabited the lands to the east of modern-day Mexico City, and the districts of Puebla and Cholula. Both led a barbarous life and obtained food for hunting and ate raw meat. The aliens from the north destroyed the Giants. And according to many of these Mexican myths, the oldest ones, the Giants were the forerunners to those who created the peoples, making it sound like they are more indigenous. They were here before us. They were here before we were created, but we destroyed them for their disgusting ways. South America. Molina Cesar de Leon, Sarmiento, and Human Poma tell of the making of the sun, the moon, and the generations of men associated with creation of the lake of Titicaca, its islands, and its neighborhood. Viracocha is most universally represented as the creator, and the story follows the main plot, known as a succession of world eons, each ending in cataclysm. As told by Human Poma, 5 such eons have existed and predated the time in which he lived. The first was the age of Viracochas, the age of gods. We always say Viracocha as it's one, but he makes it sound like, and I know, like I said earlier, it's hard to know for sure because so much of it was changed or fluffed. The first was the age of the Viracochas, an age of gods, of holiness, of life without death, but at the same time it was devoid of invention and refinement. The second was the age of the skin-clad giants. This was the Huari Runa, or the indigenous. Interesting, again, right? They worshipped the Viracocha. The third came the age of the Puran Runa, or the common men, living without culture. The fourth was the age of the Akua Runa, warriors. And the fifth was that of the Inca rule, which ended with the coming of the Spaniards. As related by Sarmiento, the first age was of a sunless world inhabited by a race of giants who, owning the sin of disobedience, were cataclysmically destroyed. But 2 brothers surviving on a hilltop married 2 women descended from heaven and repeopled part of the world. Viracocha, however, undertook a second creation at Lake Titicaca, this time with sun, moon, and stars. But out of jealousy, because the first moon was the brighter of the 2 orbs, he threw ashes upon his rival's face, thus giving it the shaded color that presents. So in the end, it's hard, like I said, because there's so many different versions of the Greek, but there are certain things that show up over and over again. Of course, the giants show up. They show up all over the world. But also something that shows up that I'd never really heard of before was a time without the sun or the moon. And on both sides of the world, this is a time associated with the death of the giants. In the Greek version, it was the gods either destroyed or covered the sun and the moon to kill all plant life, to kill the giants. And in the Native American version, it's hard because the way Sarmiento writes it, it's like, oh, it was a time without. Or was it a time that they were destroyed? The eons that follow, there was always a huge cataclysm. Was this the cataclysm that happened that destroyed everything upon earth? Anyway, another interesting thing that I find is in the Greek version, Athena says that you have to remove him from his land in order to kill him. What land is that? If he is of the earth, what land would you have to remove him from? Could it be somewhere inside the earth? I mean, I don't know. I'm spitballing here, people. I'm just throwing things out here. But it's interesting that he has to remove him from his homeland. And on both sides of the world, earthquakes are associated with giants. Tell me, there had to be a worldwide civilization. There just had to be. There's just too many damn similarities here. You know what I mean? So I know this was kind of like a rambly video, and I'm still way looking into it. I just wanted to go over it because I said I would, and I'm just continuing to look. It's just hard because so much of history was destroyed for a lot of reasons. But I feel like if we can look at the oldest histories of different parts of the world and we can connect key events and see if they line up, maybe we can kind of figure out, 1, how old we are, because I truly think that we have been here much longer than we think, and 2, what the hell really happened. That would be fascinating to know as well. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'm going to try to make a couple more videos this week than I normally would to make up for last week. And thank you for watching. You guys have yourselves a very great day.